Try to get us.
Yeah, then. Well, when you expect it to work, you don't need it. So, good morning. Sorry for the confusion there. Just trying to get my brain together. Really want to thank everyone for taking the time to be part of this discussion. We see this as probably the most important endeavor the district has been on. But the participation very much appreciated. It's quite an effort to make it out and spend an hour or a couple hours out attending these kind of meetings, but it's absolutely critical to the process. The district being a public agency and answering to the voters and being there for the community, the best way to get information, the best way to make decisions is when they're well-rounded, when they're well-represented, when you've got a lot of diverse thoughts at the table. And that doesn't always happen when you've got 5 members on a board that isn't getting a lot of attendance at the meetings, isn't getting a lot of input other than when something comes up on social media, and sometimes you're just fighting a fire instead of having a really good understanding. It's hard to do things online. Face-to-face is really preferred in this. We understand that some people have to attend remotely for a variety of reasons, and we want to make that option available. But getting to know each other is probably the most important thing that we'll do. So it's really, your time is very much appreciated because it helps me as the district manager. It helps the board as the elected representatives in the community to help understand what the community is, what level of service, what type of service, what needs the community has, whether we're meeting those needs and everything else associated with that. So for those who may not have been alive for the last couple months, we had an unsuccessful assessment vote. We certainly respect the public's voice in that vote. We weren't expecting any particular outcome. As far as assessor failure, it was more letting the public vote based on proposal to maintain a specific level of service that the board had established for the community. I think the staffed engine, having a couple 7 people, really clear direction to me, and the voters resoundingly said that they didn't support that proposal the way that it was crafted, and we totally get it, and that's one of the reasons that we're here. So, and also the beauty of this committee is we've got a very diverse group of interests and backgrounds and opinions and thoughts on this matter, and that really is going to make a big difference to us as we go forward. When I say us, it's the community as a whole through decisions made by the district board. We've got folks around the table that may have supported the assessment, some that may have opposed it, some that remain neutral, and that's what makes this really important and powerful. Getting all of those diverse voices being heard and being part of the discussion. And that's what will make the future of the services successful. So just to let you know, we've got all of you were appointed by the board at the last board meeting. we still had applications open for the committee. The goal was to have 10 or 11 people on the committee, knowing that sometimes there would be people not able to make it. To make sure we have maximum input. So with that application period to be being open until potentially we get to 11, we received another application. And great. We'll do introductions in just a second. I just wanted to introduce you coming through the door. But it's still the appointment still has to go back to our board for ratification. So I was just giving the introduction about the assessment and its failure and the message that we have and getting into the committee's charge. So the part of what this committee will be dealing with, the majority of it is that the financial and the operational concerns and problems with the fire services still exist. And that's ongoing. We've got a timeline that we're up against as far as how long we continue to provide the level of service. So that's really where we need the focus and the input as part of the next steps. We're really just open. The intent here is to be just completely open and have a really good conversation about what that level of services might be. So the committee, the primary purpose is to take a fresh and careful look at all of it, because the next step is big. Whether service is reduced, if the service is moved to someone else, if it's funded at a lower rate, all of those have potential implications, and it's really important that the committee understands what those are. So it is going to take us a little bit of time to go through this to make sure that everybody gets that background information, understands it, and we can proceed from there. As we look at options, what the options for the future is, we've got a bunch of different perspectives at the table on this, and it's really important that we take the time to listen to each other. We'll talk a little bit more about process and structure of the committees we go forward, the way the decisions are made. So another thing we want to make sure is that we really get the difficult questions out there. There's a lot of, you see stuff on social media all the time. In some cases, I would respond personally. I probably should have never even gotten engaged personally, but I take the service very, very seriously. Public service, the representation of the community, the representation of the district, and so looking back on it, probably shouldn't have even opened social media during that time, because it gets frustrating. So, but there are a lot of questions out there. There are a lot of difficult questions. Really want to make sure that we all hear those answers. And we want to consider all the different viewpoints and all the different ideas. We've heard a lot of them already. We've had individual conversations with some people. We've had emails, we've had phone calls, different thoughts. So we have to be around this table. The importance is that we're all candid with each other. There's no blues. There's no have to put everything out there and have a good conversation about it. The important thing here is that no judgment, no right or wrong answer. A lot of really good ideas are floating around, thoughts about it. And GCSD has a role in this, that the committee has been appointed by the board. The GCSD staff is here to support it, to make sure that we can online, to make sure that we stay organized, to make sure that we keep notes, to help facilitate it. Again, decisions will be made by the committee on how you really want to structure it. And we'll talk about that more, but we're here to provide information. And so if we have a question or a concern or something needs to be studied more, we need answers on something, GCSD can bring that stuff forward. If you have stuff, bring it in, we'll bring it in at the right meeting and have a conversation about it. And we have resources from, legal counsel, we have the state association, we have hundreds of fire districts and cities and other municipalities throughout the state that we interact with all the time. And we're probably not reinventing the wheel here. Fairly similar up and down rural California. So, and we want to make sure that your questions get answered. We don't expect everybody to agree with everything around the table. It's more just, we obviously will try to get to consensus on things, but that is just an agreement to agree. If somebody really doesn't agree on something, that will be noted and we'll continue to try to answer the question. But again, we're not all going to agree on everything. So this, I'll just jump right into, I'd like to do introductions before I go too much further on any of this stuff. It's helpful to get to know who's around the table. Very beginning. So I'll start. Pete Campa, I'm the district general manager appointed by the board of directors as the general manager. I'm responsible for the day-to-day business affairs of the district. So day-to-day decision making. The board makes policy, higher level direction to me, and then I've got to work within that framework. These are our administrative staff.
Rachel Perlman. I've been with the district for just celebrating my 9th year. Executive assistant and board secretary.
That's everything we do.
I'm Jennifer Donabedian. I'm the administrative services manager at GCSD. I've been with the district for about 15 and a half years. I kind of grew up here for the most part. I went to high school here, went away, got my degree, came back. I'm a property owner. I raised a family here. So I was here when GCSD had its own fire department. I watched that transition over to CAL FIRE. So I have a lot of time and experience watching the community evolve, or at least the fire services, especially over that time frame. I'm responsible for all the administrative functions of the district. I oversee those, and excited to be part of this committee and excited to have, working together with all of you on this.
Well, I'm Jeff Paulson, and I have actually fought fires and designed and conducted prescribed burns in the Bay Area next to multi-billion-dollar. Interesting. I was a park ranger for years, and then I sort of became a reluctant bureaucrat. So I spent my career in the county of Santa Clara mostly, but I worked in special districts and city, National Park Service. Anyway, I'm excited to be here and really want to help this committee succeed, because one of these days I may have a stroke or heart attack. God forbid, we'll see. So, services.
Jeff, before you run, just if we could just add, we've got it up there in case you need a little memory boost, but just briefly what your motivation is to serve on the committee and what you hope to get from the participation.
Well, I'm just a glutton for punishment. I really enjoy working on government committees.
Really?
I've chaired commissions and committees and whatnot over the years. So what I hope to get out of it is safety. I'm a big fan of public safety. I'm not kidding when I say I might have a heart attack or a stroke someday, or my wife might. So what I hope the committee accomplishes, frankly, is a way to keep the second fire engine. A lot of different options. I tend to think wide and big and it's crazy idea. But that's really my hope. Also that we get along, that we communicate, we listen to each other with respect. Forward.
I'm Jeremy Zawodny. Wife and I have lived up here 18 years now. We own property in Pine Lake, properties now. And we were here for the rim fire, evacuated during the rim fire. Same for the mock fire. I've personally called in half a dozen fires to CAL FIRE over the last 2 years, popped up. And so part of my motivation for being on the committee is I look at the big picture situation and think that of all the things that should be cut back, responsiveness to fires is probably not one of them. So that was the things that motivated me. What I hope to get out of this is a better understanding of what options really are. I don't, other than what's been explained in the public meetings, I don't have any particular expertise in that area. Curious to learn about it. And what I hope the committee accomplishes is manages to come up with some miracle solution that will actually work, and we can get people to agree on. How likely that is, but I think it's worth a shot because I don't see the need for fire services decreasing at all in the near future. It's going to be quite the opposite. And my doomsday scenario, and we've seen this a couple times in the last decade, is not that a fire pops up nearby and we need people on it. It's that we get a dry lightning event in California and there are fires all over the place, and you can't depend on air attack. So the ground resources become even more important than they already are, and having them close by is critical in a situation. That's I want to think about it.
You're Jeremy, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ann Moore, and I've been in this community since 1980. Owned and operated a business all those years. I'm retired now.
So she says.
Yeah, well, sort of retired, so I can do what I want now. And I'm the opposite of you, sir. I hate meetings. I hate. I'm here because I am a concerned citizen.
Yeah.
I understand the need, but I just think it needs to be thought out better. I think we need to dig into some deeper pockets around the community to get the money that we need. I'm not arguing that we don't need to support the services. We absolutely do. I just feel like we need to work out a plan. That's pretty much all I got.
I'm Kate Crow. I moved here full-time in 1988, but for 10 years prior, I was a rafter up here in the 70s, property owner. I was very involved with the district in the 80s and 90s, and my dear friend Mary Lavaroni, I had the park named after her. I'm very concerned that we need to have fire services. There's no doubt about that. We just need to make it affordable for the people, a lot of the people that can't afford it. And we need to find other ways if possible to add to the funding of that. So I'm very interested in exploring what other options are available, if any. There may not be any. I do want to make a statement that I don't think I could be wrong. I don't think there's anybody in our community that does not want these services. I just know that it's a hardship for many. And I think if we all pull together, we could find a solution that would take care of our community properly. CAL FIRE has done a great job for us. I was also around when we had our own fire department and we made the switch over. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can work out as a community.
My name is Rick Martinez. I joined this committee because I got a lot of experience. I worked for Caltrans 33 and a half years. Up here, 19 years, I'm a homeowner. I've been on the mock fire, shutting the highway down, 28 days straight, 12-hour days for the rim fire. Okay, dealing with CAL FIRE, smaller scale on the vendor list over here. I went to the CAL FIRE meeting at the Lake Lodge, get certified to burn brush on people's property. I used to do tree work and weeds and all that stuff like that up here. I just really concerned, and my buddy Jeff over here, my church here, me and him have talked a lot about this. I went to all 3 of these meetings here. Okay, and think I got a pretty good insight on it. And I'm concerned too about the money part of it, and, being told that, oh, everything's gonna be all fine and dandy if the county takes it over. I'm kind of like this, I'm kind of on the fence. I'll just say I'm neutral. I'm here to learn more, understand more.
I'm Terry Wimmer, I own Miners Mart. My husband's family grew up here. We moved back up in '07. We were here for when GCSD had their own fire department and got switched over to CAL FIRE. Very local at that time. I think it was a good move. Supporting the fire department is definitely high priority for me. But I look at the cost of the last assessment. Sure, I can afford it, but I look at my employees, my kids, trying to get houses, trying to start businesses. There's just no way that, adding all those costs is going to help young families around here, or even older families that are living on a budget. It was just crazy. So I want to look outside the box, see what we can come up with. I'm not asking for any one thing to cover it, but if we can get a couple things to help cut the costs. I personally think at the end, there's probably going to be another assessment, hopefully more reasonable. We can all get behind and support. That's really what I think to get out of this meeting. I'm going to say right off the bat, I am not for the county taking over. I really, really want to look for a solution to keep it here. I think if it went to the county, we're not going to be top priority. We're going to be put at the back of the burner. So those are my goals, is to try and figure out a way to support it and keep it here.
Larry Moore. I was born in Sonora. I've lived here most of my life. I was on the volunteer fire department in Groveland when it was started, and it lasted a while. But in my opinion, there's just so many things that have affected everything that happens. Price of everything goes up. I'm more interested in, are we getting our fair share from the county? I'd like to know how the funds are broke down, how they determine what we get compared to what Sonora gets. I mean, Sonora is more of an incorporated community than us, but it's like Sonora has its own department, their road department, their fire department, and they are part of this county, but they are a larger population. So somehow, I'm not sure that the money we deserve we're getting. And I think if we were getting our fair share, we may not have had this assessment. I worked and retired from Hetch Hetchy. We were on all the major fires as a support group. And if you're on a major fire, excuse me, you see things that are just pure waste. And how those fires are managed is one of the stupidest things you've ever been around. There's no concern about the fire. It's concern about the activities. CAL FIRE is a very good organization. They've got a very strong union, and they are by far the top of the list on the money scale. We slept on the ground. Forest Service slept on the ground. Park Service slept on the ground in camp. CAL FIRE went to a motel. Sonora, no motels here. The money that CAL FIRE spends under their agreements is astronomical. Now, nothing against, I mean, you're working, get all you can get, in my opinion. But when it goes to coming out of our pocket, it's a different story. Forest Service doesn't make near the wage CAL FIRE does. And maybe that's because they're federal instead of state. But there's a lot of stuff that should come together in the middle that could change the amount of what it costs. So since you have incorporated with CAL FIRE, then I got to look at it like you're on a keep up with the Joneses budget. And it's like, if we're trying to keep up with what CAL FIRE is going on, then we're going to be losing the battle because they get theirs from the state. We get ours from the county. Somewhere in there, things need to even out. And it's like, those major fires are so much of a waste. They've got their strike teams, that A, B, C, however they're broke down, depending on the size of the fire. Nobody's concerned about the fire. They're just concerned about the people that's gonna be there. I hauled a guy around, all he was concerned about was everybody. He was a liaison in charge of people from Montana. All he cared about where they were at. Had him in Tuolumne. It's burning right in Tuolumne. I said, well, how's the fire doing? He goes, no. I said, are they doing any good around here? I don't know. He said, that's not my concern. All I'm worried about is where my people are at. And if when they leave, they got to get a flight home. And that's the way those fires are ran. It's all, everybody's got a job. Worst part about it is when they come in and take over, like Pearlie was the boss of the, I forget which fire it was, run the Forest Service. I said, what's Pearlie doing? I mean, he should be taking care of that. And he goes on vacation. When we come in, the whole administration here is out of work because we take over. And I say, why? And he said, because we got the means to get the funds. It'd take them weeks to try to get the money. I said, so all of this money that you are just wasting everywhere, it's his forest. He has no say. He says, absolutely none. But that's the way the government's set up. And it's trickled down, we're into the bottom end of this. And it's just a money wasting situation. I mean, I think we got great people doing a great job. And it costs more to have them around. But some of that money that's going here and there needs to come here instead of just being spread everywhere. And it's like, that's one reason why I'm here to see what does it cost between this differential and that one over there? And are we getting our fair share?
You?
I'm Martin Shutt, a homeowner and short timer, just 5 years. Just a little side note, back in 79, started my rescue service off at UML, and I rescued 2 gentlemen out of the lake at PM. So from there, I moved in. I'm retired out of the fire service for 40 years. Did rescue specialty and worked from there. My interest in getting involved is a part of being in the community, and I bring a knowledge that's probably pretty unique, as I was a city fireman. I worked for the state and I also worked for the federal. So I've been all over and been to some interesting things like Oklahoma and those kinds of things. So I've seen other states and stuff come together. Also worked through a number of situations in California as we developed the task force teams and worked our way throughout California and the rest of the United States. So my interest is definitely supporting the fire service and supporting individuals getting things in that work. And sometimes technology is not where you need to go to get the job done. And so I'm not really big on technology versus hands-on, boots on the ground, kind of a way to approach things. Through my promotions, I've gone through a number of grant writing abilities to look at different ways that we can fund what we would like to do, participated in station closures, and I can relay that on to people and actually working those hours, what we were able to do and what we lost in that capacity. And so from there, that's what I can bring to the table. I've gone through a number of budgets, things, but just to support and bring the fire to the table and what we went through and what it takes to be a part of that, and then the organizational plans and how we could fit and participate in that and support the system, support the service. Once we have it, you really don't want to cut it down because you won't get it back. So I don't want to see any services lost in how we our choice.
Amber, want to go ahead and?
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Hi. So first of all, my name is Amber Whitner. My maiden name is Brooks. Those of you in the room probably knew my dad, Randy Brooks with Brooks Safe and Lock. Just real quick, I apologize. I'm not there in person. I am a federal employee of 12 years. I was hired as remote 3 years ago and forced back to the office this last year. So midweek meetings are kind of rough for me to get back up onto the hill. I do have to report to Moffett Field. So I'm actually sitting in Santa Clara County. I know one of you mentioned a connection there. And because I'm not there in person, I was just going to explain really quick my background, why I'm interested in this, and what I think I can contribute to the group. And I'm glad I actually went last, I think, just to hear all of your perspectives as well. So my name is Amber. I already said that. My family settled in Buck Meadows in the 50s. My great grandfather and my family, I was actually raised in Buck Meadows outside of Groveland. The connection to the tourism industry. So as far as a voice for the committee, I do understand and see and have lived through impacts of tourists coming up on the hill, but also what that means as far as an economy. My family lived off that for many years, having a bed and breakfast in place. I also went to school locally to Tioga and Tenaya all the way, similar to Jennifer. And then I went off to college, and specifically, I was really interested in the federal workforce and being a civil servant. So related to Pete, I do have a desire to serve the public, and also desire to serve the public in means of data and education for what data means, right? So I'll step back to that in a second, but my relations to fire, I worked for the Forest Service for several years as a geospatial information systems or a mapper, a GIS mapper for fire incidents, as well as with the Region 5 Forest Service Fire and Aviation Management GIS lab out of Sacramento. And in that position specifically, I actually integrated with a lot of geospatial data sets where CAL FIRE, local, state, federal agencies had to contribute their direct protection areas and what that means as far as fire response, but more onto who pays for the fire based on where it starts, as well as fire history data sets. So I did have an integration there to kind of understand a lot of the data that goes into the heavier decision making, right? Also an infrared interpreter, so I'm familiar with the platforms that go into monitoring fires, et cetera, et cetera. So coming back to what I can contribute, I currently work for USGS. I do not work for the Forest Service anymore, but I work for the National Map. So I live and breathe maps is basically what I'm saying. I also teach geospatial technology. And I think what I can bring to this committee is to help us, like Larry had said, I personally also want to understand where are the tax dollars coming from on a parcel by parcel basis, so spatial map into the county, and then where are those monies coming out based on a classification of, is it Southern Tuolumne? Is it Mono, up the 108 corridor? Where are the most monies going in and where are those monies going back out on a map, right? So I want to see how the money is flowing, bottom line. But also I would like to enable us as a committee to be able to get that type of information, vet it, summarize it, and then along with GCSD, communicate in a spatial manner through maps and online mediums, interactivity, for the public to better engage with what it is we're trying to communicate. And I think this last round of the assessment, it took a hard hit from social media just because there was only really one medium, and that is typing, right? And everybody is literate to a degree, but I feel when you see something spatially and you can make a visual connection, things can sink in a little bit better. So from an education perspective, I really hope to help with diving into the data and also providing digital technologies for me that are a low lift to build and to disseminate. So that's where I come in. Thank you.
I've got some significant diversity thoughts. For me, this is having all of this experience and thoughts and being able to work through these things. I know we're going to get back to the agenda, but I want to make sure that I'm only scrolling on my phone because it's here. expect the internet to work and it doesn't, you've got to improvise. So one of the most important roles of the committee within all of this expertise and interests is to discuss and understand and talk about and ultimately make recommendations for supervisors. Realistic options, what we think can support, what we think we can move forward with, how it's structured, all of those types of things. And it's going to take a little bit of time. Not magic key to make this happen. So I think I appreciate if we'll talk a little bit more about the time involved or the sequence of events and make sure that everybody's okay with that. But ultimately, what we'd like to see out of the committee would be a recommendation to the board on the next steps. Really, the primary role. Again, GCSD is here to support it and not steer it. If you ever feel like we're steering in a particular direction, we need to have a conversation about it because we're going to provide the information, but obviously we've got the brains around the table to interpret it and to be able to understand it and talk about it to really understand it. We're always going to follow up with an answer. In some way, provide information. We may bring people in, have a conversation from different entities or different, whatever the committee decides, we would arrange to have them part of the discussion. And we all talked about different potential options, different potential outcomes, and we come into this completely fresh. There's no predetermined outcome. Some of you stated what your outcome is. Let's keep it local, but let's make it more reasonable in cost. And so truly, we don't have a predetermined picture and we're not driving towards anything. Again, if the group or any member of the group feels that they're being driven a particular direction, let's have a conversation about it because that's the only way it's going to work. So let's jump back into the agenda. Are we doing okay so far?
There's just one thing I would like to express that I forgot. You did a good job, I think, on trying to improve our fire department, but you can only control what you had to control. And one of the reasons I think we're all here is the flaw was you can only control the people that are in the service district, which everybody on the outside was going to cost them nothing for the service that you and us were providing them and everybody else. And it's like nothing against the fact of what you tried to do, because you can only control, like I said, that's the only means you had. And there's got to be a possibility of including the rest of the community instead of just a few paying for it. I know that's the one problem I seen when people were discussing it. Like, you're going to pay for something I'm getting for nothing.
Yeah.
I said, no, you're paying for it out of your taxes, but we're paying an extra tax so we can keep it. I said, you're not getting anything other than what we're going to get, but you're getting it at a reduced rate. And I mean, that to me, that's the flaw, but you have no option to go anywhere else. You can't tell somebody outside there that we are going to assess you for this.
Well, we do have options. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're finding other options.
That's something that we haven't talked about yet. But that's an absolutely excellent thing to make sure that we cover very clearly, what the district is, what it's not, what our boundaries are, how they're set, how county land use decisions come into play, in approving projects and all of that all of those scenarios, how it's funded. It's been, I'll tell you, I've been here 2018 and I've managed districts throughout the North State, and it's been really frustrating to be able to really, really work with the county board of supervisors. I mean, really work with, we've had good representation locally. I don't know, all, but just to be able to convey a message to the whole board and to get a decision out of the board that makes sense. And so that's another beauty of this committee, is it takes it out of my mouth. You know, it's kind of sometimes after a period of time, it's like, okay, what's he gonna whine about this time? What's he gonna, you know, what's he gonna ask for? You're already getting too much, but that's, you know, that's it's an excellent topic. We'll unpack that.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that take the pressure off you. We're not looking at you like you were the bad guy. You were just doing what was good for the community, but we wouldn't get the full support of the community.
Okay. It's painfully obvious. You know,
I got a quick one here. Raise my hand.
yeah.
I think that, I don't know how it was written up and everything, sewer, water, park, beautiful park. And the fire department. And I know the cost of everything, you know what I mean? The truck takes 4 years, 1.3, maybe by the time you get it now, it's 1.6. Okay, but I think if I was GCSD, I would be relieved to not even have to do this no more, just give it to the county. And Mr. Griefer, I used to work with on the highway all the time, he said that everything's gonna be peaches and cream. But I would think that GCSD really rather not even have to rent this room and not even deal with it anymore. And just deal with the park and my sewer and my water and all that stuff like that. I think that they would be relieved. I would be if I was GCSD, be relieved. Not to deal with these people and the online stuff and, you know what I mean? Over there hiding in that. Park. Did all these people go to all 3 meetings? No, I didn't. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
didn't,
See?
I was busy. I had other things going. I'm sorry. I tried to make what I could, but
Yeah, oh no.
I
get
just,
it.
I really,
I get it.
that offends me when people say, if you didn't go to the meeting, you have nothing, you can't say. I did. And I'm picking on you, but it was all over social media.
It's sort of
Did you
like.
go to the meeting? Did you go to the
President,
meeting?
But did you vote?
But you know what too? And the last thing I just want to say was, but with all the people, and I get it, Terry, I used to be.
I
all
know,
the time.
I know you did.
wouldn't have
I
been-
told you.
I wouldn't have been here. That's right. I wouldn't have been here. But you know, but I just like to see more people showing up.
Definitely,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Not
Yeah.
have to work, you know.
I know, get it.
No.
I
I
totally
just
get it.
want. Oh, this lady right
Sorry.
here.
Go
I
ahead.
just wanna say, Mr. Griefer did not say everything's gonna be peachy keen.
No, I know, but he did tell me
No,
something.
what he said was, if we can't come to a conclusion, the county's responsibility is to provide fire services. That's what he said. Now, personally, I wanna leave politics out of this. However, I think we need to include the county for what they can do for us. They can do, I mean, it's better to get more with honey, you know what I mean? It's like, let's see what they can do for us. Let's not just push them out of the picture.
True.
So let's all embrace every option that we can, because I believe the county does have responsibilities. And if there's something that we can't do, maybe they've got a card they can play for us. So I don't wanna wipe them out because he didn't say it's gonna be peachy
No,
keen.
I threw that in there.
Yeah, shame on you.
That should have been.
But he did say that
He said that they will,
in a sense.
they are obligated, the county is obligated to provide fire services for us if we can't do it.
Right,
If
right.
GCSD gets out of the fire business.
We will
That's what he
definitely
said.
get in, we'll, and.
I have a point to share on that. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I agree with Terry, and I also agree with the statement that just said about more with honey. We're over in South County. We all know there's a geographic barrier there, and I don't think we should alienate the county, yet I don't think we should drop GCSD. It does need to be a wholesome solution just to cover our butts. I hate to put it that way, but that's where I'm at as part of a committee member.
We rely on the county and the county relies on us, so we've gotta make we've got to make that,
Gotta make nice.
You know, I wanted to say, I'm really excited to have you, Amber. I know I'm talking to the ceiling here. But I have a thing about maps. I used to love to use the USGS maps for backpacking. And I took a couple of mapping courses at Cal Poly Humboldt. I have a room in our house up here where I call a map room. That's got old maps. And then I took a course from a Yale professor called the Graphic Presentation of Information. And he's an expert in making things clear. And I think that's really helpful. It would be really helpful to see on a map, the fire chief talked about all this great area that we have to respond to. But I want to see where the people are we have to respond to. I want to see where the money is, and those layers on a GIS system can really help us understand our resources and where perhaps there could be some more. These help people understand why we're doing a certain area and not in an area, that kind of thing. So maps and presentation can be very helpful.
And there's also some questions I'll have for GCSD as to what resources they have, because there are some out of the box online solutions that would really integrate with all of us as a committee to communicate together and to see the data, but also to make a public facing interactive online map that we wouldn't have to print and distribute, right? We still want to do that sometimes, but so there's a need there, Pete, to kind of have a technical discussion chapter eventually once we get there to enable everything that he just said.
yeah, absolutely. And we may do, with the committee's blessing, when we get to that point, the committee may ask for a graphic representation of this information we reviewed today. And then I envisioned that we would work together maybe with Amber. We've got internal expertise too on GIS and mapping. And then bring that forward for more discussion. So this is perfect. This really is just exactly what we were hoping. Yeah.
How much time do we have?
So yeah, we're gonna go,
How much time do we have on this whole project?
we're gonna go into discussion on it. So like everybody's super enthusiastic and great and that's appreciative, but we wanna take that energy and that enthusiasm and actually like funnel it into a process so we can get all of that vetted and get it out and that, progress through this committee. So we'll go over the agenda. We did member introductions. This is just for today. I'm gonna get up just because I sit all day, so I like to walk around. I hope that's okay with everybody. Kind of talk about big picture overview, go over the proposed committee ground rules, committee structure, communication and schedule, confirm the next meeting topic, any questions, and closing message. So if you could go to the next, and the next one, because we already did that. The committee purpose. He kind of touched upon this earlier, but it's to help the district and the community take a fresh, informed, and transparent look at the future of local fire protection services, including service needs, costs, funding limitations, public concerns, and realistic options. And go to the next. So we had thought about maybe 10 meetings or so. It can be more, it can be less. It's just based on what we were looking at and the information that we know we need to cover. Because, in order to do this effectively and efficiently, we got to build a really good foundation. Really good foundation requires the knowledge, knowing, gain an understanding of the community's current fire and emergency response services, what that looks like. We've got county, we've got CAL FIRE, we've got Forest Service, gain an understanding of the district's current financial condition as it relates to these services. You're going to get anything and everything you could possibly want to know about the cost of services and the revenue coming in for those and the revenue sources available currently. Review the outcome of the fire protection assessment and discuss factors that may have contributed to the results. So we got yesterday a really good report from the consultant that broke down the votes, where they came from, the categories that we'll be going over in a future meeting. So there's a lot of really good data there. Evaluate realistic service, operational, and funding options. Discuss opportunities to improve public outreach communication and community trust. review potential funding approaches and their impacts, develop findings and recommendations for the board's consideration, present monthly committee progress reports to the board. So we didn't know, we'll get to the structure of the committee in a little bit, but we have our monthly board meetings and we would like a member, whether it's my suggestion is we rotate and we have a member of the committee present the committee's work and findings to the board on at their monthly meetings, and then address public concerns and committee suggestions. So it's a few bullets, but it's actually a lot of information to go over. We're thinking we probably try to keep the meetings to about an hour to 2 hours, respect everybody's schedules, and I think people get kind of saturated after a certain amount of time. But this is all open. We need to go less, we need to go more. We're just trying to get some, guides and bumpers into this process. Next. Okay, proposed committee ground rules. So I think we've already really, seen the dynamic of this group. I think it's going to be very cooperative. It's going to be very respectful. So, one is assume good intent. I think that has been shown here today, that's pretty obvious. Respect different viewpoints and experiences. Ask questions before reaching conclusions. Focus on facts, options, trade-offs, and community impacts. Address ideas, not individuals. Avoid personal attacks or assumptions about motives. No single member speaks for the entire community. Staff will provide information and the committee may request additional information. Agreement is welcome, but respectful disagreement is acceptable completely. The committee's value is honest discussion, not forced consensus. Keep the process transparent, understandable, and respectful. We'll go over member information requests and outside contact with agency officials. So based off of this, does anybody have anything that they can't live with? They think that we should add to it, we should change?
Understanding of what's being said.
A good list.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what difference does it make on who voted how? I'm just curious. It was just
The purpose is to just look at, did we get engagement? Were we able to engage the absentee property owners, the absentee owners? Did we get them to vote? Yes or no? It doesn't matter. Did we get them to
Yeah,
vote?
no, it's just data,
Yeah.
understanding the
wasn't-
process.
It doesn't look down to the address level. It's just the data that came in, and where their addresses were. Yeah, it's because if you put something on the ballot, you only have registered voters locally. Do an assessment, you've got property owners that are all over the place. Completely different dynamics. So just understanding how that went, whether, this commercial, residential, multiple property owners, those that had multiple properties and how they responded, whether they responded, those kind of things. It's just helpful information.
See us on camera, or is it just a voice?
It's just the voice right now. We're casting the slide for.
I can see you guys. I can see the back of Jennifer's computer from that angle.
Can you see the presentation as well?
I can see the bottom half, but you're doing a great job at narrating. I'm good.
Maybe we should say our names before we speak so that Amber knows who's speaking.
Is she ever gonna come to a meeting?
I'm sure she will.
Where is she?
Yes, I will come. It's just I work for the executive branch, so during the week it's hard for me to break away. I tried this week, but it didn't happen.
So two of the things we kind of want to touch upon are the last two are the member information requests. So we really want to keep the committee all at the same level. We want the information for everybody to get the same information. So whatever, the information you would like, we should try to get in these meetings so staff can go out and bring that back to the committee. So we just ask that, really try to think about that, because outside of this, we have water and sewer, and we have a lot of other things that we've got to do throughout the day, but we want to make sure that we're getting that information to you. So we just ask that You can send us emails outside of the meeting, which is totally fine, but just know that we're going to respond to the entire group with that information, just to make sure everybody, has the same information, is on the same page.
Some of those responses might be that we'll be addressing that in a future meeting. We'll bring your comment forward. But it's not that we don't want to answer it right then, and we probably could, but we want everybody to hear it in the same tone.
Yeah, so and this that goes the same for outside contact with agency officials. When you go out, again, it's for the committee's purpose. If you're talking to somebody and you're bringing that information back, it may be different than hearing it from the individual who's in the room talking to the group as a whole. So if we do plan on bringing in, a representative from CAL FIRE, Supervisor Griefer, and we'll have those times actually when we have those questions for the county or we have the questions for CAL FIRE, we want to actually bring those representatives into the room to talk to a committee. So to the committee as a whole. By all means, you can have contact with whoever you want, but we just, for the committee purposes, we want that message to be delivered to the group.
So if we do research on our own and find out something interesting, send it to you so you can send it out to the whole committee, correct?
Pretty much, or,
Okay.
You can bring, whether you think we need to know ahead of time or it's something we can discuss,
Okay.
bring in at the meeting.
I just want to make sure the committee's okay with it, because these happen a lot, and we don't want to make sure that we don't feel like we're not respecting what you're asking. But if someone does research and sends it to us, I would like to be able to bring that back, like I said before, break it in, instead of responding to that and getting us to a different level that we may not be ready to get to. Like to bring it back for discussion at the right time. I mean, an example would be us. It might be way further down the road that we're going to address that at a bunch of different levels. Solid conversation here about it, rather than one person's understanding that may not really understand or doesn't want to answer the question the way that you want it answered.
More official.
Next, please. Okay, so here we're going to talk a little bit about the structure of the committee, communication, and schedule. Again, we didn't have any conceived notions of how this was going to be structured. We don't know if we think it's important to appoint a chair and a vice chair, a spokesperson for the monthly board report. Attendance requirements, it's really critical that you show up, because every meeting we're going to be building upon what was learned in the last meeting. And we're not going to be able to stop and go back and, catch people up. So do we want to implement some type of attendance requirement? Do we want to have a process for replacements, group email communications, and then a dedicated web page for information? So we had discussed internally the best way to deliver information to the committee, because, as we go through the weeks, we're probably going to have kind of like homework. So when we actually get to the finance and the budget stuff, we'll have an area on the webpage that's dedicated specifically for this committee for you guys to research and look at the numbers and look at things. So when we come in and actually start having the discussion on things, we're all somewhat well versed in the background information rather than trying to go over that in the meetings itself. So that's just a little bit about communication structure and committee, but I think I'll go back to appointment of a chair and a vice chair. Is that something that the committee wants to consider? Is it something that they think is necessary? Doesn't think it's necessary? I'm going to turn it over to the group now.
And also, I was gonna say, like Amber, somebody who was busy, they can go on the Zoom too, right?
Of course. Yep. That's dependent.
I don't know if this pertains to that, but is it possible that within this committee, you have two people look at, like finance, two people look at this, like you have subcommittees? You know what I mean? You have
By the chair, you
subcommittees.
could determine that.
I didn't hear you. Go ahead.
But
Yeah,
she
yeah,
said if
you're
you're the
the chair.
chair, you can determine that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I nominate you.
No, but it just up into subcommittees, you're gonna get results quicker. So in other words, if we're gonna look into budgets, you have two people on budgets, you have two people on contracts, two people looking at what the county can do. If you, and then we all get together at a meeting, those subcommittees could report to the whole committee. Does that make sense?
I have a tidbit feedback on that. Sorry to interrupt. From a mapping perspective, I can see all of that on a map. So for the subcommittee, I like that idea, but as someone with technical skill, I would want to support subcommittees is what I'm saying, because I think in the grander scheme of things, we're also going to need to see the bigger picture with where the money's coming from, where it's going, and also in setting those things. So to Jennifer's point about doing homework, I think, yes, that's a good stance, but I also think that we're going to need time to discuss what we thought of the homework. And maybe that's not just dedicated to two people reporting out. I think it should be a discussion.
I believe there should be a chair. I mean, it's only a matter of time before some of us get into maybe a little bit more heated discussion than we should. And there should be someone to say, hey, let's
I'm
go
chairing.
down and
I've chaired a lot of committees, commissions, nonprofits, and even a car club.
You're hired.
So I'd be glad to volunteer my services. I think the role of the chair is to facilitate discussion,
Yeah.
not to say I'm the big chair,
right, exactly.
just to be a participant, but usually withhold comments till the end. Let the committee discuss. Chair jumps in.
I just thought the chair is the one, we can't all go to the board meeting. So the chair is going to be representing all of us, go to the monthly meetings and get into the board meeting, to your board meeting. The one person, whoever it might be, is going to be in the meeting and give our insights to them.
How about the spokesperson? It's different, but the same person's the chair.
Yeah, the chair.
I could be confused here, but I already believe we have a chair right there. That's not, but you are in charge of the community, the fire department and everything else. And I see our position is we are here to try to support you in your job. I mean, anybody can become a chair here, but then you're breaking down, it's like, okay, he's the chair and I'm here to support you. He's here to support you. And it's, I don't know that we need all. Every person here. I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's like, if we go to, somebody's gonna start relaxing, so to speak, and not doing their part. And I do believe that it's like, whatever's presented, we can discuss it at a meeting and it came up, take it home, and when we come back to the next meeting, instead of the emails and everything else to keep up with, it's black and white, and when we come back again, we can discuss what was proposed.
I see a chair as someone, say right now would say, okay, we've discussed this for 2 hours. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next.
It's more of a moderator position, and to from Pete's standpoint, I do see a need to have the chair for this committee be separate from Pete, because we've had a messaging, it's hard to get a message out, and the community needs to see us as the community and not as GCSD.
Right.
I like a committee where we're the council and Pete's the mayor. Not the mayor, I'm sorry, the city manager. I'm sorry, we're the council and Pete's the city manager. Or the committee information.
I have a question for you guys, and it's no offense to GSD. Will you guys be in every meeting?
The vision was that we would establish the content, we would discuss the content at the end of each of these meetings, what the next meeting looks like. The district staff would work with the chair to make sure that, if they've heard something different or there was a different interpretation, to make sure that the agenda was complete, you know, that what we were gonna discuss was focused on, it was, what was decided on. And yeah, I mean, that's our role, because so much of this stuff is gonna require interpretation. And it might, instead of discussing a bunch, we'll say, okay, I know, there are reports out there, there are graphic documents out there, there are other things we can bring to the next meeting. We'll load them up on the website and we'll talk about it at the next meeting. If we're not there, then we're getting someone's interpretation of what was discussed with the.
Not sure that you're gonna get the real people with you sitting there. Do you know what I'm saying?
We shouldn't leave this room really until we get to the point where, I mean, that's what we need to develop first, is the trust, because seriously, it doesn't matter. It matters to me as a manager because the community voted for GCSD to have fire services decades ago. Until the community says, okay, we're gonna take that away, I'm responsible to this board to manage that and to get to an end result. If, and we all bring our own expertise to it. I have a lot of resources statewide. I'm not saying me personally, but just we, that we've already been there. There are things to look at, there's ways to look at it, there's information and data that can be discussed. I just see it's important.
I kind of think,
that's
I
fine.
kind of feel like maybe what Terry's saying is that some people might direct some stuff at you. Like personally, I owned and operated a business my entire adult life. I know how it is to budget and finance and to plan things out and plan for the future. And you might get some criticism, and Terry's thinking that perhaps some of us might have trouble saying you should have done this, or why didn't you do this better? And I think it's important that we all not be thin-skinned, that we all be open-minded and just, put the facts out there. As far as like how I feel about when I said digging into deeper pockets, I meant sharing the costs, looking for other options. And I think as long as we're all adults here, as much as we
I
can.
can take, I can take, I mean, look at
that's right.
Yeah.
the social media and I mean,
Right.
I've been through it,
Yeah.
so it's not a.
You can't work in Publix
No.
for the
you can't.
public
You can't,
and have thin skin. So
right,
Every day.
you're not,
yeah.
if somebody was saying, you guys are doing everything, right. What we're well intentioned, that's our goal at all times, with what we have, with what we have. But if something is, why did you do that? Or this, why are you putting I can guarantee you, we think everybody here is it's like good intention. We are not sensitive in that way whatsoever. If somebody was telling you that you were doing amazing, I wouldn't be where I was if I was just checking boxes and I didn't get any constructive, as long as it's constructive criticism, like it goes back to our ground rules of respect. But I can guarantee you, please feel free to
I think that's why we're here.
critique, criticize, ask questions, you want something for us to dig a little deeper into something to get you. We are not going to take offense to anything. I promise you.
I'm gonna speak up.
Yeah, and we not.
Yeah. You
I
have the
just kind of
therapy
was-
table.
Zach?
You have the therapy table in front of mine if you want.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I learned early on in my career that is what makes a better manager. Sure, it affects me. Yeah, I mean, I'm on vacation and going through email or looking at social media and see nasty stuff. And yeah, it does, but that's not the point. Without that, I can't understand really where we're miscommunicating, where there might be information that we're not presenting or not presenting right, or something we haven't looked at, whatever. I can take it. Actually, I kind of like it.
Thank you.
when we're doing
And I think we should probably move on the process too of identifying. Sharon, I think it's important to do that because it also provides you.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't in this room and a year down the road, a recommendation came out of this committee And it would matter to me whether you were running the committee or the committee was
Yeah.
more independent. And yeah, you might have been in the room, but that doesn't mean you were telling
Right.
anyone.
Right.
So I would be more likely to think that the committee did something that it thought was the best answer rather than what Pete wanted to hear.
Oh,
So
I
we
just
need-
got something to add to, again, working for Caltrans. I was the shop steward. I was appointed shop steward, right? I'm the middleman. So if this young man over here had a problem with the supervisor, he could come talk to me, or he can call the union rep himself, but he can come talk to me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying it's like, it's not us against you, but that's the way it is. You're putting this together for all of us, so somebody should be appointed to represent us, you know what I mean? And that's the way I perceive it, you know.
So let's appoint somebody.
Okay, well, everybody take a little piece of paper and put down who you want. We'll pass the hat.
First
Yeah,
of all,
well-
who's willing to do it?
How do you spell your last name again?
Well, my only concern is this,
Jesus.
at the Hetchy, there are different levels of stuff everything happens, but it's like, so every employee had to belong to a safety meeting at a certain time of the year. It revolved around. So you had your sub-safety committee meeting, which was the employees. Then you had the safety committee, which was the manager. And invariably, you would go out and look for what could be a potential hazard. And you would submit it. You would have the chair of it submit it to them in their meeting. 99% of the time, you go to the next meeting and okay, it was turned in, they denied it. So there was such a gap between that, it was referred to as safety at no cost. They'd do anything for safety if it didn't cost any money. And don't get me wrong, Hetchy's a good organization, but that's the way it run. It's like, it was nothing but a being on a piece of paper, following procedure, because they were gonna do what they were gonna do anyway. But it's like, that's where I'm kind of against all of this committees and everything else, because it's like, stuff gets lost in the middle. Every individual's doing their job, but when it goes to different committees and everything else. Not that we shouldn't probably have. It's just like, I figured you were running things so far. I didn't mean to put it on you, but I
No,
thought the system seemed to work at this meeting, so.
This brings up a point, right? We can have a chair, but also transparency as to who's on it. And I apologize, I haven't remembered everyone's name, but someone just said it was like, if I was a member of the public, I would want to know that Pete was, not leading it. I would want it to be another thing itself, but I'd also want to know who is on the committee. So I'm not sure if this is something that's in the slide deck, but yeah, we can have a chair, but are we going to publicize who is on the committee? Because like what was just brought up, you need that middleman to both take in input and then ingest it. So I'm just curious, what's everyone's perspectives on making it known that we're on this committee? That way our community understands who's in the room.
I have no problem with.
I think that's a good idea.
We'll make it Target t-shirts and.
Yeah.
You want this job real bad, I know it. I'd like to hear from this gentleman over here.
I'm a sponge right at
You're a what?
Sponge.
No, I'd like to hear your views on this.
Should there be a committee member?
Well, just, yeah,
Still
because
a
you're
leader
sitting
for
here
committee.
with us.
Yes, I think there should be.
Okay.
Keeps things moving and if somebody gets out of hand. I like to be sergeant at arms. I like to.
Oh, okay.
But into how you're gonna run it is important. Because then we all know who's gonna take it, he's gonna be presenting. I don't think you should be the person because that's the next step up and be there. So having somebody volunteer is always a good idea because now we know who to throw things at.
That's the person with the bell, right? Ding, ding, ding.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are excellent points. So it sounds like we have consensus around the room that we need a chair. If you disagree with that, and so then vice chair is just in the event that the chair, usually the chair is not there, then the vice chair runs the discussion at the meeting. I don't think there's been any decision on subcommittees or anything. It was just a discussion and that can evolve as we go forward. So we want to appoint the chair at this point.
Sure, but how do we want to go about it?
He nominates or and the committee takes kind of like a vote?
I just like to say, like somebody that can take good notes and everything, like, because of my disability, I can't take good notes and stuff like that, but, and again, not knowing everyone here, but I would seriously like to nominate Jeff because I've spoke to him a lot of times. And he's been involved in a lot of different things. And then maybe you get a vice chair, or maybe he does it for a month or whatever, and then this guy over here wants to do it over here, or you would like to.
So you're Jeff, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry.
With a
that's
G,
okay.
with a G, Jeff with a G.
Jeff with a G.
Yeah, I can call George and Greg and
G off. Hey, I'll just call him G off.
I would support that. I just have one quick question. Are you okay with if things get long-winded and we get off subject, if you
That's
say,
not
okay,
true.
let's,
meetings that go till midnight. I try to.
I'm not gonna be here till
Too short and sweet.
But seriously, I've chaired these city meetings where you have a whole room full of people and they line up with the microphone. And what I say is, and we may have members of the public coming, if someone has said what you were gonna say, feel free to have a seat, not say anything. And that moves things along, so you don't get the same topic being communicated by 12 different people and you go till.
So did you nominate him?
I'd like to nominate.
I'll
Jeff.
second.
I'll second. I'll vote it.
Okay, go ahead and second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
That,
There you go.
that's a pretty solid consensus.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.
Okay, do we have do we
Start
want
off.
to do interest in the vice chair? And for nominating vice chair?
I'd like to nominate the quiet guy over here that. I appreciate you asking him because you gotta watch out for the quiet guys and
Would they just pick up badges?
So anyway,
I should name somebody else, sorry.
I will second that. If you are willing.
I'm willing.
Okay.
Okay.
I figured that, again, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Would you like to do this by just a consensus? Or
Well,
you want to do-
you know, I think generally, I saw how your board operates. Say, is there any objection? Are you all in favor? Say yes. You don't need to go and do a roll call. You know, I've been in meetings where you have a television set and you have buttons you push, and you have lights on the wall, you know, and all that stuff. But I do like to run meetings with Robert's Rules of Order. Okay, just calling people as they come up. Listen, I've also run committee meetings that are dealing with difficult topics like domestic violence. Levels of expertise. So there's some emotion in some of these things. But anyway, I'd be glad to work.
No, and can you also go to the board meeting? You know what I mean? With your schedule?
we haven't gotten to that yet.
Once a month?
That's a different,
I thought he would.
I think it's
he
two
represent-
different people.
Yeah, we could have two different people.
I mean, it can be, I'm just saying, I think it's.
A lot
we're
of-
gonna-
Okay, I thought spokesperson for the monthly board. That's. Or not.
I feel like the spokesperson may be dependent on the topics at hand, right? So example, if we got into doing some map analysis and wanted to present that, maybe I could be the one to go for that specific meeting. But that's how I see it, is that there may be areas of expertise to be the spokesperson.
Spoken by a wise federal employee. Thank you.
We can choose a spokesperson.
Or as it comes up.
Yeah.
Dynamic spokesperson.
Also makes it easier.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to the notes. I think if it's okay with the committee, we would have Rachel keeping notes. I mean, it's not gonna be verbatim, it's just, you know, we assigned a chair, agreed on a vice chair. Agreed on a dynamic presenter of information based on what the committee recommends. And then if something more detailed needs to get into the notes, I just suggest that you address it to the chair and say, you know, I want to make sure that this gets into the notes for the meeting.
Rachel, that is much appreciated. I've been on commissions where we have to do our own notes. It's
She does a kick butt job.
Aren't we supposed to, are you guys gonna do the 2 or 3?
Oh, yeah, so let's talk about attendance and then committee, term or whatever. Again, attendance is, it would be best to attend sequentially. Everybody understands you've got emergencies, business needs, family events, something that gets in the way, and it may work. The date works for the rest of everybody else, but doesn't work for you and we can't move it. I wasn't knowing what to expect in the beginning, but it sounds like everybody around the table here is dedicated to go through this. Is there any?
I only have one request, that we can have the meetings instead of 9. Because I go to the gym in Sonora. Give that up.
I'd like to see it a different day, so if we want the supervisor to come, it's not conflicting with his meeting.
They have a
On
meeting every
Tuesday.
week.
Not on Tuesday.
Input from me on that is full-time people with full-time jobs, maybe rotating every once in a while to an afternoon or a Monday or a Friday. That would enable me to be there more in person.
Well, Round,
Maybe-
is there a afternoon, morning, you mentioned the time that works best for if you or it doesn't work?
I'm available any day as long as it's 10.
After the gym.
After the gym.
After the gym.
Yeah,
Yeah, I should go to the.
I
don't-
I don't mind afternoons either.
I'm implementing that. I'm available at 10 after the gym, so I can actually.
Fridays, Mondays are bad for me.
Yeah, Friday's bad for
We do a
everybody,
lot.
because first they're up.
I'm
All right. I'll refine that. Afternoon's better for me because I work with everybody in Denver and Rolla, Missouri. So I literally get up really early. So afternoons typically free up for me better. So I can try.
Is she in Denver, did she say?
No, she works with people.
She works with people in Denver
Oh,
and on a different time zone, so in the afternoon, she frees up.
But would it matter if it was afternoon, if it was after your clock time?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, you're
it's-
employees, I mean, it's like,
It's more.
we get off at 3:30, usually like to get off at 3:30. I didn't want to add to that.
What about after lunch? Like 1:30?
One.
Yeah, I'm fine with afternoon. I'm gonna be gone, August.
Where you going, Anna?
Go visiting.
But I'm getting excited. It sounds like we've got one.
What's your staff schedule? Do you available at 1 or do you take off?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
fine, yeah.
too.
Yeah, I probably have just because I have kids that are school age, everything else, but 1 works for me because when they go back in school, get out at 3, so they'll give me a good 2 hours before I have to go hoop them up. So 1 works well for me.
1 not work for anyone?
What day are we talking about of the week?
Next.
That's the
That's
next one.
next. We talked about not Tuesday because that's Board of Supervisors.
What about a Thursday?
I like Thursdays.
Okay, anyone? have a problem?
Thursday can be an issue for me. I have a weekly section meeting with my supervisor.
Thursday.
At 1, Amber?
Yeah, it's 12:30 to 1:30. So, but I can't move that because there's other employees on that meeting.
And how's that, for a second, answer the other question is what's meeting frequency?
No,
That affects my answer also.
Right.
I have occasional things on a Thursday in the afternoon, but they're not every week or.
Is it okay, Jeff, to take up the number of meetings and then go back to the date?
Well, let's decide the date of the day of the week first. What about a Wednesday?
Good day.
Let's see, Wednesdays, if it's gonna be every week, is not gonna work. Okay, I understand what you're
That
saying.
would overload
Yeah.
the staff. I think.
I think we were, monthly basis or 3 weeks.
To schedule this meeting, your staff provided a form. Do we want to try that or is that too complicated on a monthly basis to use a doodle poll or a form?
Well, I think we're really trying to get a set schedule for the committee, Amber. instead of having, constantly fluctuate,
Right, yeah.
What about Friday?
It's bad for everyone.
Fridays.
You can't get in the market on
Was
Friday.
the only issue for Tuesday, Board of Supervisors?
I'm sorry, what?
Was the only issue for Tuesday, the Board of?
Yes.
So why don't we set the meeting? I mean, if
It's
everybody's
not
okay
on the
with
Board of
Tuesday,
Supervisors.
and we decide we need Steve to come in, we set up a different day.
Well, but he would
Just
like,
that.
he would like to be part of this,
Well, he's not part of the committee though.
but he
I-
is,
no,
as
he's
far as
not.
the county.
Well, what, is
When we
it,
want
is
them.
it off the wall to think of maybe like 7 in the afternoon? Is that gonna interrupt everybody's lifestyle? Well, I know, but I'm just thinking.
One of my jammies.
Personally, I think Tuesday works well. I think we can accommodate board. I mean, because Steve's the committee, when we invite him in, when the committee's ready to ask questions of him, we'll just make sure it's not on the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can it be a different Tuesday, like but not Tuesday of the supervisors meeting?
The second Tuesday of.
They definitely meet the first and second. I don't know what their exact schedule is, but
If we had the
So
third Tuesday, that would
every
work.
month at 1 o'clock.
Third Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Afternoon at 1. That gives everyone the morning to get done their business.
Carrie said Mondays were bad for her, Mondays and Fridays.
Monday's
I
bad for you?
mean, if it's just me, don't look at, I mean, that's fine. If that's what you guys set it up, I'll try and figure it out.
No, Monday's bad for you every Monday?
Well, yeah,
Mondays, I know Mondays and Fridays are also bad because people, if you go have trips or you travel, I'm able to be on the hill on the weekends. So that's one benefit for that card, Monday or Friday. But I can also do Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. I'll just try to make it work.
Third Tuesday at 1 o'clock going once,
That sounds good.
going
third
twice.
Tuesday.
So
Tuesday at 1 o'clock, did you say?
third Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
and
So-
again, you as a committee can always alter that schedule in the future if we start to see conflicts. The other part of the attendance, Jeff, was do some committees that work sequentially like this, will say if you miss 2 meetings, you can be replaced. I mean, this is not something I really want to weigh in on because I really want to leave this to you, but I think you should have the conversation.
2 meetings in a row or 2 total?
Some committees that I'm involved in regional and statewide stuff, 2 unexcused absences. Like you're just not there. You don't respond. You don't say, I can't be there. You don't, so,
I can go for that if it's unexcused.
You mean like a doctor's note or?
Well, yeah,
Just even just
Like a note.
sending an email, so we know that.
I think an example, if the fish are running, that's maybe not the same as a doctor's appointment.
No, it's pretty important. But
What's your
I don't know,
experience?
it's always late because the fish are,
Yeah.
coming
If
late.
you wait all year for those fish to run, you don't want to skip this year.
I will always be communicative. I just can't control when, the national map has a meeting and I have to go to that at this time. So I will be communicative. But if we do 2 absences and I miss 2 because of work, I'll be very sad.
Unexcused.
Yeah.
It's not unexcused.
And if you miss one, you can just call Jeff and he'll fill you in.
Well, we're also recording these. I mean, they're gonna be recorded, so you wanna go
Catch
back
yourself.
and you can catch yourself. Yeah, so you have to miss the meeting. You can watch the video and you can be up to date and up to speed when we get to the.
You have all the data and information. The only thing you won't have really is the ability to ask questions of the group in that. But we had hoped that the chair would support having a segment at the very beginning of the next meeting. If there was any additional questions or we needed a follow-up or more information on something we talked about or decided or whatever in the prior meeting. That it's not like it's closed and gone.
It's old business.
Well, yeah, like old
Like
business.
have old business. Okay, we'll just sort of run it like a regular meeting, but old business. So 2 unexcused absences in a row or in the course of,
I don't I really don't agree with that. I mean, I think we've all been responsible enough to step up to the committee.
Yeah.
And if I feel that, I just really don't wanna go to those meetings anymore, I'm gonna let you guys know. And if we kind of put ourselves in a box and something comes up with somebody and who's gonna determine if it's excused or not?
Well, and this lady here doesn't seem like she can make it, so she can do it remotely. You can do
Yeah.
it remotely.
Yeah,
Can
but
I
I
do
think
that?
we're all responsible enough to say, hey, I'm not gonna include it
Yeah.
anymore.
And if someone doesn't show up for 2 meetings, then I guess the staff would call and say,
Are you still coming
Are
or,
you still
yeah,
interested in being on the committee?
Can we have agreement among the committee that if your intention is not to continue, or if you've lost interest, or you have just ongoing conflicts, that you come forward and
let everybody know.
Yeah.
let everybody know, and then we can, hopefully we'll have a list, you know, especially from this
Other
group,
people
we
that-
keep a full list of, you know,
Someone else.
11 plus, and then the committee can make a recommendation to the board.
Yeah.
You know, because it is a board.
I'm going fishing the next 3 days.
So is that the agreement that we?
I would agree to that. I just don't like boxing us in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so 2 unexcused meetings, we have a question is whether or not you're still interested, not that you're automatically kicked off the committee, but that there's communication about.
I mean, you
why you're still
can
interested.
kind of word it however you want. I'm just, what bothers me is the unexcused meeting. Who's gonna determine whether your excuse was excused or not?
Yes,
But-
Kathy.
But if she doesn't feel like coming, she can do it remotely.
Sure, but if she doesn't even
That
want to
doesn't-
do that,
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
mean,
don't think we need
it's
to
a
make a
big
group
wow.
about it at all.
I think when they say it's unexcused, it's mostly, you haven't contacted us, we have no idea why you're not at the meeting, it's just you fallen off of the face of the
So
earth.
let's
To
just
me,
all
that's
agree
what
that-
unexcused is
Agree
not,
that-
I could agree to that, but like I said,
can't
I mean,
show
if we're gonna put anything in writing, it just really boxes us in too.
If you ghost the meeting twice, that's not good.
and then there's a question.
Yeah,
It's not
those-
good, but if they don't show up third one, okay. If they show up third one, hey, what happened here, you guys? It's gonna be an ongoing thing. And we're all adults, I can act, Larry, where were you?
Yeah.
But you know, why didn't you show up?
And there could be a point to where it's like, you may ask me not to come to the next.
Yeah, we've
Yeah, that's right, that's nice, where Jeff comes.
well, but I think that the point was the board wanted to keep a consistent number of communities, because, we don't wanna get to the end and be like, oh, we had 2 committee, that's not a citizens committee of 2 people. So the
Right,
point is
right.
just that we wanna make sure at the end of this that there's a good representation of the community all the way through.
And I know if I miss 2 and Jeff's calling, I'm in big.
Well,
trouble.
it's gonna be sometimes hard for me, we're sort of split between here and.
So that's
So-
another question, how frequently are we gonna have?
No, I think monthly, third
Third
Tuesday,
Tuesday of the-
monthly, that goes in with the board cycle. Monthly cycle is a good
The next
cycle for
meeting would
minutes
be,
and stuff. No overload, Rachel.
The meeting's the second week.
So the next one are we looking at would be Tuesday, the 18th? Jennifer?
Yes,
the 18th. That works.
and we'll send out,
But that week, I don't know when that-
Okay.
But it's only if I
I got
can
1 PM.
send it, if we can do shared. email. That was the next conversation. Are you guys all comfortable with me sending group emails and you guys have each other's emails, or do you want to say?
As long as you get the right date on.
Yeah, thank you. Larry.
Is it possible to have a group distribution list? So like if someone wants to email the group, they don't have to figure out everybody's emails, they just use one email handle?
Yes, I
That-
can create that.
That's on the list just because we also want to make sure, number one, that everybody's okay with
GCSD meeting.
hang on.
You said the 18th, right?
Yeah,
The
August
18th, yeah.
For this group.
For this
Yes.
group.
Okay, so therefore, the GCSD meeting is usually the second week
Yeah.
of the month. So that means that the committee will not report till the next month. Right?
Rachel trying to make that.
GCSD meeting is the second week. Okay, so that would be August 11th, or 12th, because you're now on Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that means when this committee meets on the 18th, they won't report till the September meeting to the board. Okay, just checking.
Is that okay with you?
I think it makes sense, not that we have anything to report for August at this point.
I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
I think it makes sense because we don't have anything to report for August. Other than that, we are formed and we know who we are.
Unless you wanna change it to the second Tuesday, and that way the
There's
person.
something to report.
Could something to report.
I've been, and I thank you for having me look at my calendar that we're doing this. The third Tuesday, I have an ongoing conflict every single time. It didn't even enter my mind because I'm making myself available at all options, but there's very few things that, and
I think we just picked the third Tuesday out of a hat. What about second Tuesday?
I think that was decided because the board of Super meeting
Getting
is on
all-
the second Tuesday.
we can adjust. Or if we need to either attend the board of supervisors meeting or
Oh, special meeting.
Yeah, special meeting,
Okay.
if that's
Okay,
okay.
so
Yeah, you know,
The second
I'll be
Tuesday?
honest, Steve Griefer's contributions have not always been consistent and helpful.
I don't agree with you.
Really?
Uh-oh, everything we go.
But we can, we can
I
adjust.
do not agree with you, okay? Just so you know.
You know,
Okay, well,
this
okay.
You've
agreement,
got some good ideas.
this agreement, you always get a better result.
Sorry?
With this agreement, you always get a better result at the end. Otherwise, everyone's just going, yeah, sure, okay. Sure. But this agreement is something to work through. Now,
We can talk about it later. We can-
So the second Tuesday, I do want to finish the thought on the group email. You know, number one, that we're sharing email addresses. You know, and with if the committee's okay with that, but then also the process of that. When we, from a staff perspective, again, because we're spending a lot of time and effort getting information strategically to the committee to make sure that, you know, we have time for people to do maps and understand what's coming before them and that we present.
and everybody's receiving the same information.
And everybody's receiving the same information, so if it goes to part of the committee or to the whole committee, but GCSD is not involved, sometimes we don't see a train wreck coming. You know, so if it's communication from the committee to itself, because it's a GCSD board committee, GCSD, at least Rachel should be involved in that discussion.
Well, if she
Other
starts
than
the
that,
chain, then
come,
she's
it
involved.
discuss at the meeting.
Rachel,
But
you're gonna
that's
be
a
kind of the one
recommendation.
administering this. What works best for you? You wanna think about it?
I would like to just create one group email, like a committee email chain with everybody in it. And then that way, if I have any information that I need to send out to you guys are all getting it at the same time. And then I can send you the calendar invites. Everybody's getting it at the same time. Yeah, that would be,
So we were looking at the first and the second was Board of Supervisors. Third, it was a conflict with you. What about the fourth? We're on the fourth now, 1 month from today.
My only comment is this next August, I have to be in Denver for a week-long meeting. It happens once a year. So if it's the fourth week of August, I will not make that meeting already because I have a yearly commitment.
It's gonna,
First,
we're gonna go, we could go
second,
for 3 hours, 6 hours.
Okay.
That first
Go
one's
with
the
the
second,
11th,
they're not
because
having a
their meeting is the 12th and they don't want to.
Yeah, but I thought we decided we didn't have anything to tell them yet anyway.
You're right.
So
You're right.
why not just go with the second?
I'm good with any of them.
I haven't heard any reason not to use the second,
Let's go with the
other than the
second.
Board of Supervisors, which I don't think
No,
is
no.
terribly relevant.
Their
Yeah.
meeting
It's
is,
the
Wednesday.
GCSD board, the committee would just have to be okay with the verbal report.
Meeting's the next day, the second Wednesday of the month.
but you're busy that day getting the board packet.
No, the board packet goes out the week
Week
before.
before.
Okay.
So we
So
go
we're still at
the
second.
11th, then we go back, we come back on the 11th.
We're doing August 11th.
Okay, so we're at the 11th at what time?
1 o'clock still?
1 o'clock on the second Tuesday. Going once?
The 11th?
This will be the venue, or is that?
Yes.
Okay. So second Tuesday, at 1 o'clock.
Or we're covering some ground. I think we covered the email communication.
What about a webpage?
That was actually on my list. So we were thinking about putting a whole bunch of like shared documents in one file, and we can make a Dropbox where we can have all of the content of like all meeting material on our website under the advisory committee. That way you guys can just have one spot to go and look for all of the documents.
Kind of like your board work.
Question on that, is that automatically public facing? Like, would we want to have stuff in curation that we're reviewing in a spot, or does that not matter?
All public record.
I mean, some on boards where we have a board page and there's a password for the board only to look at it. But I don't know if we want to do that.
You may want, you may want to say, yeah, I can give you a web address and there's this information that we went over at the last meeting to a public member
Okay.
for them to take a look at it.
If you hide it down there under the board's pictures, hardly anybody will find it, because it took me like 2 years to find that.
I don't think we're in any espionage here, so.
Correct, we didn't plan
Now,
on
what
it.
about little little bios for us or pictures? I find it's helpful to have a picture, a couple
real.
sentences.
Get real.
That people know.
Get real. Get real. This is just a committee. We're not running for office here.
I don't know. I would argue that yes, for community transparency, as a member of the community, I would want to know who is on the committee and what they do and what their expertise is so that I could approach them.
I don't know that I'd want a picture and a bio out there, I mean,
I'm not either.
what?
Yeah,
I hate
right.
having my picture taken.
Yeah.
Maybe pictures could be optional and maybe some a bio, because I do think there's some value to what Amber said. If you are a member of the public, you kind of want to know who these people are that are
And then
patient of you.
if you have a map issue, you could approach Amber, and if you have a fire issue, you can approach one.
Want a sandwich, you come see me, I don't think that
I'm
that's.
with you.
That's right.
Sewing tips, you can call me.
I'll leave now.
You're much more than a sandwich maker to the community.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think more importantly,
Cheeseburgers, yeah.
If you don't provide a picture, we'll find an avatar. for you.
I'm good with that.
There you go, there you go.
You have those little light
Yeah.
picture.
I don't see a problem with
I
that.
think having at
The
least,
public needs to know what we're doing, I think.
Yeah,
you know.
they do.
But
And
these
they know
meetings
who
are
we are.
public. These meetings are open to the public. They can come to them too.
at least having a name and a bio that anyone can look at means that people who aren't in the room can see the diversity of people in the room and not feel like someone stacked the deck or to get a certain outcome or whatever, or they don't represent me, there's no one up here like, I've lived here a long time and these are all whatever. No, there's people who've lived here a long time, there's people who've lived here a shorter amount of time, all kinds of backgrounds.
You will write your own bio. It's not like people decide for you, so. You write what you want to say for a couple sentences. And pictures are optional. You can have a photo, an avatar, or no picture.
You get to know Rachel very well because she'll stay after you until that bio comes.
Good luck.
I mean,
They can call.
she does a great job.
What's that?
We give the picture, optional picture, bio to you.
Yes, please.
Do we have a due date?
So are we gonna vote on this? Cause
Oh,
I
yeah,
totally.
sorry.
Yeah, if you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's have
I
a
will move
vote.
on though, so.
Well, any more discussion about why we not have a little
Why do you
couple
think we should
sentences?
let public know who?
Our names are out
Our
there.
names are
It's
already
been-
on there.
It's out there. I
They
mean,
can
most
call.
of us have social media, they can look us up, most people, you know, I just. I think if someone was that interested, they should have joined the committee or they can like say, Kate,
They
I
can
mean,
call.
it's a Zoom, they can go on the Zoom meeting and see, hey, how are you? Us, I don't know, I just,
List just your name.
I'm totally fine with my name being out there.
You can put my phone number and my name.
Yeah, our name's already right here on this paper.
I mean, you can put my business where they can find me, I mean, I just.
I'll answer questions.
If you do a search in social media, you'll find that I am a destroyer of Cooper,
You're the what?
a destroyer of Cupertino.
Uh-oh.
So look out. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what someone labeled me on social media. So it's not always accurate.
Oh, I get
Yeah.
that.
I would say context for you know, what we would bring to the community, like how we did our own introductions today. I think that would be informative for the community. That way they feel like they're represented, right? They might know you as a person, they might know what business you're a part of, but they want to know your motive for why you're being part of this.
So
get that,
Amber,
but-
would it, we have a couple members, you can't see the body language that much. But there are a couple members of the committee would prefer to just have their names and contact information.
Email,
And
phone
Is
number.
it okay with the committee to leave it open to that option?
Okay, I don't think this is something we should force on people.
Thank you. That's good.
And I'm
with
okay, if you wanna put a bio on there, put a bio on there, but I just don't.
Optional
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
To Rachel, do we have a due date for that? Rachel?
We're not running for an election, so to speak.
That's what I said.
No, but this is an important, like Pete said, this is one of the most important issue that the district is facing. So we want people to be able to approach us and say, oh, you're a mapper, you know, I wanna talk about a map, or, you know.
Oh, that's your thing, but that's not my thing,
Okay.
okay?
Then you don't need to put anything.
We're gonna have a lot of disagreements on this committee.
This agreement is expected.
I love it, no,
I
disagreement,
can see you love it.
I'm serious when I say that disagreement produces a better outcome. Don't want a bunch of yes people. But we want serious, gritty discussion and listening, respect. And often come to a conclusion that's better than what would have come up with just all yes people.
Where'd you get that
We'll
sticker?
talk later.
Spending time outside makes me
Yeah,
smirk.
no, he's got a number.
Rush Creek.
I love that.
She means it.
So Rachel, do you want something by a certain date or?
How about just by maybe the end of the week or beginning of next week,
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks, okay. And so just your name, and if there's anything else you want to put,
Email.
email, okay.
Everybody's okay with the webpage idea?
Yeah.
I think it's as a utility too, because as information's populated there, if people see discussions on social media going off the rails, you can actually provide a link to person information. While it doesn't change people's minds, sometimes it makes the worst offender shut up for a while and let more truth seep into discussions.
Yeah, give them a direction to go.
Yeah, like, all right, well, research it yourself. Here's all the
Yeah,
information.
here's what we're talking.
So if then the recordings could be saved as a separate file within that meeting date. Just so that's accessible.
Meeting notes.
About 15 minutes before we run up to hours.
Okay.
And so we've got, so meeting 2, what we had planned to bring was, you know, the brief history of GCSD fire. You know, how GCSD came into the business of providing fire protection and emergency response services to the communities. Agency roles and responsibilities to our community. So, you know, what's GCSD's role, Walney County role, CAL FIRE role, and US Forest Service, mutual aid and automatic aid partners. So we really wanted to kind of just start at very foundational of who's what and why are we here and why are we in this, you know, even talking about fire.
Could we add a couple of agencies to that list?
Sure, of course.
National Park Service and HHE.
Okay.
There
I
are,
had a topic for time. One thing I noticed over this last bill was a lot of unlike terms, people's impressions of what those were, whether they were even involved in the line of district versus outside the district. Confusion between things that we talk about. Is there we come together and say, we're all going to work under a guideline in regards to terminology. So if I tell you I come with a tiller, you would know what a tiller is. So
Yes, Absolutely. We'll bring a set, we've got a set of definitions that might be helpful
And that,
and we can add.
yeah, we pick a certain amount, but we all are understanding the terminology that goes with that.
Yeah.
So we won't lose a meeting as we explain 10 details. Something of that,
Yeah, I've
whether it was a miss.
I've seen acronym definitions that are 3 pages long.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's important because people don't know like what hazmat means.
We've developed kind of like a glossary for that already of
Okay.
a lot of the term, like, cause when we talk about this, we understand that there's gonna be those acronyms or things that we use that other people don't use. And so we've already developed that to help aid in making sure that there's nothing lost in translation.
One question about the rules. You know, we have rules in some organizations that no more than 2 members can talk outside the meeting about a topic. The Brown Act. Other things, the car club didn't matter. So, any thoughts on that? Are we gonna be subject to the Brown Act?
No.
Okay,
Not at all.
okay, good.
My only caution is that, you know, getting caught up in things that are yet to be discussed or, you know, doing outside evaluations in groups can tend to fracture the relationship that we develop over time. You know, if the committee as a whole says, hey, you know, when you go with Jennifer, meet with Steve, or I'm just giving examples. That's different than people meeting and drawing conclusions and then bringing those further out in the committee and dropping it on the committee during a meeting where that's completely off topic.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know exactly how we say it. Some of the stuff I think you can do by just agreement at the table that will, to the maximum extent possible, everything that the committee covers is going to be discussed at the meeting, or it doesn't mean you can't have outside conversations. This is if you're doing committee work, maybe the committee should know about it.
Yeah.
To a certain point, but I think, I mean, say in this meeting, all of a sudden tomorrow, I'm like, oh, you know what, Anna said something. And I wanna get clarification on it, I'm gonna call Anna and say, hey, what was that thing you were talking about, and is this something we need to look
That's
into?
fine. That's different.
Absolutely.
That's
Right.
different.
It's just if, for example, the 2 of you decide to go meet with the CAL FIRE chief or the CAO or something to run down something that you.
I think that needs to be kind of channeled through the committee.
I think that's an understanding we probably should.
Ask questions. If I have a question, I call the firehouse. I call and ask the
Yeah,
question.
Shay's good
I
for
get
that.
it right
we
from the
know that.
horse's mouth.
Oh, we know.
Right. To the maximum extent possible, I think that should be done through the committee structure. And I say that because I can ask legal counsel a question in a certain way, and they'll give me a response based on the way they heard my question. Somebody else can ask them how they envision it and get a completely different answer. Then all of a sudden we have complete disagreement on 2 different discussions based on the way they were framed individually between yourself and another person. Doesn't mean you can't bring it up. It's just understand that you know, that we're just gonna need a lot of focus and a lot of, you know, there's not a particular direction here, and I'm not telling you don't go talk to the firefighters or the chief or whatever, but when it starts to be multiple people going in a certain direction, we should probably know about it as a group just to keep the relationship.
So can we trust each other to use our judgment?
I think so.
I think one of the things we gotta keep in perspective is, since we are kind of representing the community, we have to keep an open mind about our own personal opinion. And maybe not convey your own opinion to the public. Keep an open mind to listen to everybody's before you.
Excuse me.
That's
know,
my
it's-
bio. use that.
You're running for office?
It's like, because
Keep an open mind.
everybody's here for their personal reason, more or less, however it is, and it's like, you want,
Yeah, you're right. That's,
you,
no, I agree.
you want to keep your personal opinion to yourself and do not convey that to everybody else. And remember, the committee's here to bring all those opinions to come together.
And one thing we all agree on is we all want safety. We
Yeah.
disagree on funding, but we don't want unsafe conditions.
And just like the application on the fly here, it said, if you're for or against or in the middle. I said I'm in the middle, you know what I mean? Just like my pastor at church, he goes, whether you're on the left or the right, and I go, hang on a second, pastor, I go, there's three of them, I can be an independent too, and I can vote either way I want. So they quit the left and right stuff, and the same thing here, I just put I'm in the middle, even though I have my opinions, very sternly. I put it in the middle, and that's why I'm here, that's why we're all here.
I think one
And
of our
that's why we
goals,
can come together, even though I might disagree with Mrs. Crowe here. She might snap back at me. I have to be neutral with her and I gotta love her, seriously. For real. No, I do. We all have to come together as a community. We're here for a reason. You know, just like me, I got a schedule. I gotta go to the gym and all that stuff. I got all kinds of free time and I'm retired. You know what I'm saying? I can come anytime. I'll stay here for 5 hours if you'd like to. No, just kidding. Anyways. But anyways, I know we got things to do and everything, but that's why we're all coming together and, you know, left or right, no politics, whatever, let's come together.
Politics, no religion,
I think
sorry.
it's important
Yes.
to listen.
There you go, yeah, there you go.
It's important for us to listen.
You made that comment.
I did.
You did. Shame on you.
That's all right. Oh, you'll be talking. you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, right after the meeting.
When this is all over.
Yeah, right. Go sit in the shade somewhere and chit chat.
Any outstanding questions or do we?
I thought you were gonna say warrants.
No. If I do, it's for parking or traffic, then. That's one of those cameras and it says you have 5 days to pay.
Uh-oh. Not that.
Sorry.
But you know, anything under the surface, any misunderstanding? I think to me, this was extremely helpful, you know, it's just be able to pass it out a little, you know, a little bit and just be as supportive as we can be and just really deeply appreciate this is at the core of what we do, what I've done for 32 years of my career. And this is, you guys are at the right in the center of the next big thing for the community, not just GCSD. We're just the vehicle. We're the elected vehicle at this point to take this forward, whatever it may be.
I want to just express my appreciation to you, Dad.
That's
You
right.
worked really hard. It's no fun sharing meetings when you call the kids and responsibilities.
Dog that keeps you up all night for no reason whatsoever. But she just wants to lick your face and go outside and bark at a cat.
My dog sleeps through the night, I think.
Always have. It was different. Maybe it was just I smelled.
Anything else? Okay, your turn.
Did a lot.